welcome here. It's great to be back here live streaming today with more concerto work through. So I've had a busy year, as some of you know, performing different concertos by Rachmaninoff, Saint-Saëns, and as well as Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue that I'm performing live this Sunday on stage. It's for my 100th online stage at show. Soon I'm also performing Grieg's concerto, this very wonderful piece. So welcome here. Let me know if you're watching live or on the replay and where you're watching from. So today I'm streaming from Haps, and I'm also streaming to Twitter, YouTube, and my Facebook page, Pianist Daniel Roberts. So great to have you here. So this is a piece that I've always loved, and in a couple of weeks in November I'm going to give my first complete performance of this work. I did play the second movement as a teenager, which was my first experience of performing concerto music, and that was with a second piano that had the orchestra sounds on, which was really cool. So I'm playing this one with the virtual backing orchestra, as I have been doing this year and all the way through this pandemic pretty much. So this is the opening. I'll play that again. It's a very famous opening, one of the most famous piano concerto openings in music, I think. And this opens and closes the first movement. So then we go on, the orchestra play a theme, and then the piano comes in with that. This concerto, it's not one of the most difficult ones, but it is pretty tricky sometimes, like in this part. Let's do that again. So getting the playful character here is a bit of a challenge. So before we go on, I'm just going to see who is here watching. Hello, hola Pablo, bienvenido. Welcome, my friend there from Haps. And I think I saw another message as well. Oh no, it's just Haps and tips there. So welcome, hello again everybody. Let me know which platform you are watching on, if you're on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube Live. I'm streaming from Haps because that is a great platform that allows me to multicast to all my social media pages. Good to see you here. If you're just joining today, I'm working on the first movement of Grieg's amazing and beautiful piano concerto. So let's just do this part again. I know it mostly from memory now, which is good considering I'm playing it in 2 weeks. So let's just check something. So for those who don't know, Grieg was a Norwegian composer, so there's a lot of, I think, Scandinavian character and influences in this. transition into the next theme, which again, like the first theme, the orchestra play first. So we get this, I'll play the orchestra part. Comes in, I love this. What? Let's do that again. Yeah, let's just check. Very beautiful romantic theme there, I think. Let me just see if there's any more messages. Hello, Jose on Facebook. Good to have you here. Thank you for joining today. And if you're watching on HAPS as well and feel like supporting, all tips are appreciated, of course, as well. So let me just go back a little bit. So we got this part here, which is, again, it's a little tricky, but it's not the most demanding concerto, you know. And most of this piece is actually written very well for the hands, I find, as well. Thank you very much, Pablo on HAPS. Appreciate that, thank you. Let's go on then. So, such a pleasure to play, I think, all of this music. Tomorrow I'm going to do my first run through with the backing orchestra at the venue as well, so I can't wait to play all of this, of course, with it as well. That's it. Let's go. rapid triplets. Tremolo, and the left is doing semi-quavers. Basically 2s against 3s. And the orchestra. Always using that motif from the opening, which you heard. And the whole movement is built from that. So hello, Steve. Welcome, Steve. Are you watching on YouTube, I believe? So welcome everybody. I'm live today streaming from Haps, and that gives me the means to multicast to Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, which is really cool, of course, so I can share all of this with more of you. So thank you for joining. So I'm back. I took a few weeks off here because we went on holiday and everything, so I've finally got round to starting doing these live streams again, and I'll be doing at least 2 or 3 each week. So great. So then after that part we get the middle of the movement, or it's called the development, which is when the themes, usually 2 or 3 themes, play off each other. So the flute comes in with this. So while the flute and other instruments, you've got cor anglais plays as well. That comes from here. So it's great fun to play. Yes, YouTube. Oh, cool. I'm just checking because I can see the red icon there. Very cool. Okay, so then while the flute is playing this, the piano is doing all these arpeggios. And then the orchestra. And same thing, but a semitone higher. This is one of those passages that seems pretty simple, but that's a trap, because if you start to think it's easy, you stop putting in the concentration, and then little bumps come, so just got to keep on top of it. And in this part of the concerto, the piano is accompanying the solo instrument, so for this to work effectively, I just have to listen to the solo instruments playing. That's what I love about concertos, because the piano gets to be the soloist, the accompanist, and sometimes the orchestral pianist when you're playing big melodies with the orchestra at the same time. So let's see, Donnie Pearson. Hello, Donnie, watching on YouTube. Very nice to have you here as well. So let's continue. So then it gets very dramatic then with the orchestra. Let's go. It's got this chord, which is basically the James Bond chord, you know. So we like that. But in this part, it's not a chord, it's just a very rapid arpeggio. Again, it's coming from the opening material, just developing, so it goes slowly. here it says una corda, which means press the mute pedal, but I think sometimes that isn't always appropriate as well to do. Because you can do a lot of things without the pedals, just with the hands as well. You don't always need to rely on the pedals for those sort of effects, I think. This part, it's very nice to play, but the arpeggios, they're not always just under the hands or the fingers, so you have to use natural, rotation motions to capture those parts. Oh, it's not always successful as well. But then I'm not always doing a live and practicing at the same time. Great, so let's just have a look at comments again. Hello, Big Juice. How are you doing? Good to see you here on HAPS. Thank you for subscribing as well. So for those of you who are wondering what this HAPS is, it's the platform I'm using to stream from, to go on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter at the same time. And I think on the title or in the descriptions, it should have a link to my HAPS profile. So if you want to check that out, just give it a click. You can watch and comment the same as you are on the other platforms if you like as well. And this is the main live stream platform that's out there right now, because Periscope finished earlier this year. So most of us just moved across to here, and we're really enjoying it here. I've got back onto it recently, and I will be going live here regularly. So let me know if you have visited my HAPS profile or plan to. Okay, so after that then, we get a few more bars. There is, let's just see what have we got. Yeah, so there's about 8 more bars, I think. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 8 bars, and then the piano comes back with the first theme again. I'm going to move forward a bit now. So hello, Jane Roberts, familiar face. That's my mum there. So then we get similar material like all of this. And then the orchestra. Oh, that's good. I didn't practice this today so far. It's not very tricky, but you just gotta take care of it, really. So that goes on, and then in a similar way, it brings us to the second theme, this time in the home key of A, or it's in A major. The piece is in the minor key, but now it's in the major of the minor. Goes on exactly the same pretty much as the first time in C major, which is, for those music theory nerds, we know that's the relative of A minor. That's why it's in C the first time. And then it comes home to A major. That goes on exactly the same as before, and then after that, so we get probably my favourite part of this movement, the solo piano cadenza, and this is a section where just the piano plays, and it uses the themes heard through the movements. So I'll just go from the main part of that. But this is very very fun to play, so we get this. Theme then, of course, in its all its glory. Still need to check this part. That's it. So the challenge with this cadenza, apart from the fast bits, is in this part, you've got the main melody, and it's got to ring all the way through the bar while you're doing all the other arpeggios as well. And then the orchestra come with this final version of this. And then the piano ends exactly where we started off. So that whole first movement comes in at about 13 or 14 minutes. If I play the cadenza fast, that will influence that, of course. So thank you, everybody, for joining today. I'm going to finish the stream for now. I'll be back in my next stream soon, working on the second and third movement, so we'll get through all of this piece. I can't wait to play it, actually. It's a very satisfying piece to play, even just the first movements as well. But then, if you don't know, most of you know this, but the second movement changes the mood completely. And if you haven't heard it, I recommend going to listen to it. So, I have played that piece as cellist for the Renton Youth Symphony Orchestra. Great, Donny. Yeah, I bet that was a cool experience as well, playing in the orchestra for that. So if you weren't here at the start, I mentioned that I did play the second movement when I was a teenager at my church, and that was my first sort of concerto experience. But this will be my first time playing the full work with the virtual orchestra. And then hopefully when more concerts are opening up again, things, I'd love to play this with a live orchestra. If you know one where you live, anywhere in the world, that's fine, let them know. And that would be cool. Thank you, Steve, as well. Thank you. So thanks, everybody. I'm going to sign off and then go and practice some more and everything. And hope to see you in my next live stream very soon. And if you're watching on my YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, feel free to follow me and subscribe if you haven't yet and you like what I'm doing here. And check out my other videos. So thank you, everybody. See you next time. Take care. Bye for now.